The top 12 rankings this week. Let me take you through some of those. Again, Oregon jumped Ole Miss, so Oregon is now 6. Miami and Utah swapped spots, 12 and 13. Tulane is the highest ranked group of 5 team at number 24. I wanted to bring in the man to break down what it all means for us, Josh Pate. Pate, I got 4 huge questions. In our second hour today, Pate will pick the games. But let's start with the huge questions in the sport right now. Everyone is talking about the head-to-head Miami and Notre Dame. Where do you stand on it at the end of the day?
Damian Woody actually just broke it down when he said, "Don't even make no sense, man." That is me watching the monitor the other night when I had the explanation read to me by the playoff committee chair, Hunter Yurachek. So, Greeny, I know some people are in the weeds on this. I actually think the further removed you get from it, the more it makes sense when you look at the fact that we had a football game happen between these two teams, and it happened earlier in the year. Miami won the game. The season has played out. The resumes are plenty comparable enough where, as you can see, they're ranked very closely. And I've got people using every data point and every metric but the head-to-head to try and explain away why Notre Dame's ahead of Miami. Remember, Miami plays a ranked Pitt on the road day after tomorrow. If they win that game, theoretically, the gap shrinks even more. The committee's going to have a mess on their hands. Unequivocally, I think based on the way this committee has operated in the past, if both win out, Miami belongs above Notre Dame. But it sounds for all the world, and colleague Heather Dennett just talked about it many times, it sounds for all the world like they've already made up their minds on it. And now they're kind of applying data points in a reverse engineered fashion to fit their preference. And I think their preference is, we think Notre Dame's the better team. They look like the better team. So we really don't care that they played. We're going to go with what we think rather than what we've seen.
This is always the danger of letting human beings get involved in all of this. They bring their own biases, and by that I don't mean that they come into it with an intention, but this is what they think, and they're allowing what they think to supersede what actually happens on the field. Okay, next question. If Michigan beats Ohio State again this weekend, do they get in?
Follow-up's always, well, who are they in over? I don't know. I don't even frankly care about that. If they're sitting there ranked in the mid-teens right now, I believe they're number 15. If they're ranked in the mid-teens already, and then you're hypothetically telling me, Greeny, they add what would be the best win of any team all year, beating number 1 at the very end of the season, we have seen teams catapult up the rankings for lesser wins, relatively speaking. If Michigan beats Ohio State, that's its whole separate drama. That's its whole separate, like, Netflix special that could play out in docuseries form. But as for the playoff rankings, yeah, they've got to be in there. That's why whether we're talking about Ole Miss or Oregon or Georgia or Notre Dame or whoever, or Oklahoma, these other teams that could be at-larges, I don't assume anyone's in yet, because I don't know how big a mess we could have and how many teams that you and I could be sitting here on Selection Sunday saying, you got to put them in. Well, if you got to put them in, we only got 12 spots. You got to take someone out.
People on my staff are asking the question all the time. Texas plays Texas A&M, which is unbeaten and in many people's view should be the number 1 team in the country. If Texas wins this game and gets left out, is it because they scheduled Ohio State to start the season? And would that be a bad message to send?
I get where you're going with that. I get where your esteemed staffers may be going with that. What I would say is, if Texas had close competitive losses a la Notre Dame to a really good Ohio State on the road, but elsewhere they had just dominated the competition, and then they beat A&M at the end of the year, that would be one emphatic bullet point. That would be a pretty emphatic argument. You should put us in. Don't punish us for scheduling up. However, if you're going to go down that road, someone's going to come back at you with game control, and they're going to say, weren't you down 17 on the road to Mississippi State? Didn't you struggle mightily to beat Kentucky on the road? The bottom line is Texas hasn't salted the earth outside of those 3 games to the point where I think they break benefit of the doubt threshold. So I view Texas very much as on the outside looking in.
Okay, outstanding. In our next hour, Pate is going to give you picks on all the huge games that will make all these things happen this weekend. Stand by, Josh. And I'll remind you, Rivalry Week starts tomorrow. We have the Egg Bowl at noon. Monster game, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Then you get Georgia and Georgia Tech, which means so much. And then you get Texas A&M and Texas. What a day. What matchups. All 3 games, as always, available on the ESPN app.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak loud.